So in this session we are going to learn a garbage collection, and garbage collection is one of the very important features for Java programming language. If you have some background of the C and C++, you might be knowing the function which is called as a distractor, which used to do the memory deallocations or memory freeing part, but into the Java it is being handled in a different manner. So let's try to understand what is garbage collection over here. So to explain that, I'm going to create up the new package, garbage collection, and then into this let me try to create a class which is called as a school class. So I would be creating a small name of the school which is private string school name, or I can just say name, and then we'll be generating up the getter and setter methods over here. So to do that, we would be going ahead and generate the getter and setter methods using control-N, and then these are our getter and setter methods. Let's try to create up a small class where we are going to understand how the garbage collection work. So psvm, and here we are going to create the school object, right? So school s, or let's call it s1, which is equal to new school, and we know that we can actually create a public constructor over here. So again we can use constructor which is using this string. So basically here we have this dot name which is equal to name. We have understood the way this works. Okay, so here let's say I have a school name which is Paynes Junior High School. Now let's try to do something different over here. So I'm going to create another reference which is s2, which is equal to the new school, and then here I'm going to say, let's say Lincoln Prep. These are the two references, both are pointing to their own references over here. The question is, what is going to happen if I'm going to say that s2 which is equal to s1? What does this mean? This means that the reference s2 is now going to point to the object where s1 is pointing. So if I tell you to predict s2 dot get name, what's going to be the answer? The answer is going to be, even though the s2 is actually pointing to the new school over here, but now s2 would be giving you the name of the schools, which is Paynes Juniors. And let's try to run this, and then you'll get up the idea what I'm trying to say over here, right? So it's saying that it's Paynes Junior. If you not place this, then it will tell that, hey, I am a Lincoln Prep, because that's what s2 is all about. So this is how a reference is going to get allocated. The questions that we need to understand is what will happen from this point onward, whatever the object that we have created. So this is an object which was actually being referenced by the s2, but since at this point we are telling that the s2 is now pointing to the object where s1 is pointing, this object will essentially gets garbage collected, and that's where the garbage collections comes into the picture. So garbage collection is a background thread, very important thing to understand. It is basically a background process. We have not studied the threads right now, but then you can say it at the sake of that it's a background thread which keeps on checking, are there any objects which is not referenced by any reference variables. If it is not referenced by any reference variable, it just frees that memory. The question is when it is getting called. So the timing of garbage collection that is getting called is all up to JVM. We would not have any control when it's going to get kicked in. In a very simple sense, whenever the Java programs feels that there is a memory crunch, at that time the garbage collections comes into the pictures and says that, hey, let me check it up all the objects which are not having the reference, and I'll make the memory free for you. And then that's how it works. It is also possible that we can explicitly place the reference to the null over here. So when you say s2 which is equal to null, which basically means that your object which was being pointed over here, reference is, so the s2 is actually now pointing to the null. The question is that whether the object which was referred by the s2 is getting garbage collected or not. The answer is no. Reason being that this object has got two reference. One is s1 and another is s2, but since s2 is gone, because now s2 is pointing to the null, but still the object has got another reference which is s1. So your object new school will not get garbage collected over here. But if we'll try to make it s1 which is also equal to null, this will tell that this object will also get garbage collected, because this object even does not have any reference now. s2 is now pointing to null, s1 is also now pointing to the null, and that's how the garbage collections from this statement onwards would decide that let me go ahead and clear the memory which is occupied by this object. And that's what garbage collection is about. It just keeps on checking in the background that whether there are objects which does not have any reference or not. It jumps in and then frees the memory.